So, hey everyone, sorry that I'm a bit later today, but as I told you in the post, I've been walking through 10-foot snow today, and in case you don't know, walking through snow is pretty much a guarantee that it will take you an hour longer before you get home. Something I didn't realize before I started my walk. Anyway, this week I wanted to talk a bit about motivation, mindset, and how you can leverage this to build your business. The first thing I would say, and it's one of the things that basically grounds you, is managing your expectations. Okay, I know that everyone that gets started selling on Amazon wants to be a millionaire. I get that. Everyone has their dream, and I'm not saying that you can't do it, but if you just look at it from a statistical perspective, from the millions of people that sell on Amazon, it's not very likely all of them become millionaires. As a matter of fact, about 90% don't make any money, and from the 10% that's left, 90% make just as much as someone flipping burgers. Okay, so now I realize that just by saying this, that I might demotivate you, but that's not the goal. That's not the point. The point is that if you understand this, you get into fighting mode, right? So, and to be honest, if you're just in anything, right, whether it's a sport, business, or life in general, if you're just in it for the rewards, you'll just end up being disappointed most of the time. Okay, and if I just look at Amazon and how long it takes, I would say it will take you several years before you start you'll be able to get something out of it, right? So it will take you 2, maybe 3 years of investment, of time, of money and knowledge. Now if you're just in this for the rewards, there's no way you can invest this. Okay, it's a long period, and if you just look at it from a short-term perspective, it will not be likely that you'll succeed. So although I realize that I might make you feel better if I tell you that it's all going to be unicorns and rainbows, I honestly think I'll help you more by telling you what to expect over telling you what you may earn or not earn or whatever. Okay, so that's for managing expectations. Now, the second thing I tend to get annoyed about is motivation. To me, all these motivational quotes about whatever Elon Musk or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos, to me it's a crutch. It doesn't really help you. It doesn't really motivate you. And furthermore, I think that if you need someone to tell you every day that you're this special unicorn, that you will make a lot of money, you get this, you get that, if you need that in order to do any job, not just this, but just anything you do on a daily basis, then one, it might not be for you, and two, you might not make it. Okay, so again, it's all this feel-good stuff that may help you on a very short term, right? It may help you get started, but it won't help you get through. Again, if you're just in this for the promise of a reward or a payday, business in general will not be the best fit for you. It's better for you to just buy a lottery ticket and hope it will work out for you. because business is something for the long haul. Okay, you might see some results in the short term, right? If you do something great or you have a product that sells well. But I found that it will take like a year, maybe 2 years before you actually start seeing some significant results. Okay, so this leads me to the third point, and that is getting a perspective. Now, what I mean by that is that when I got started, my mood changed based on how well I did or didn't in any particular month. So if I had a bad month, my mood was bad. Okay, I didn't feel like working. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And when I had good results or great results in a month or any given month, I became happy. Now you could say, okay, this is obvious, it's normal, it's human. But it took me several years not only to realize, but also to apply this. And what I mean by this is that failure and success are different sides of the same coin. Okay, and I found that if I just did the work, regardless of the results I may or may not got or had, over a mid to long term perspective, right, I tend to do better. Whereas if I focus on short term shifts, right, so if I have a bad month and I see a certain product not working, let's say 3 years ago, I would cancel a product instead of looking what I can do to improve that product. Okay, and if it was 2 or 3 months, then I would definitely not even look at it anymore. Just sell out the inventory and just move on. But again, over time, I've learned to see things not so much for what they are, but for what they can be. Okay, and once you realize this, it literally is a superpower. Okay, because just look around you in your circle of friends or family or both. Okay, if you have an idea, right, it can be anything, whatever, an idea that you want to monetize, I would wager a bet that 80% of them tell you not to do it, it will fail, whatever. Okay, of the 10-20% that is left, they will say something that will make you feel good. But the full 100% of that, unless you have like an entrepreneurial circle around you, if it's just normal people that have a day job, have a pension, whatever, they will not see it. And the point is, when you get started, you're the same as them, right? You're in it for the payday, I get it. You're in it for the success some guru promised you, but you haven't evolved yet. You have made the first step, but it will take you some time before you get that perspective I just talked about. Okay, so again, this is more the mental stuff, the motivational stuff. Now, as to how to actually start, this is a question I get asked most often. Okay, now aside from telling you that you should start with our services, my advice almost always, at least when we're talking about selling on Amazon, is to start with arbitrage. Again, it's not the best model to start with, or to end with, sorry, but it is the best model to start with, because it doesn't take the amount of resources, time and knowledge you need, for instance, for private label. Okay. The second thing I would advise you is to start with a small budget. Even if you have the money all the money in the world, maybe start with $100. Okay, let's see if you can turn that $100 of inventory into $120. Now I realize there are a lot of costs surrounding, like what it takes you to, get your booking, your numbers, and all that kind of stuff. But just focus on $100 budget and pure inventory, and try to turn that pure inventory into $120 revenue. Because if you get that process down, you can do it for 500, 1,000. Okay, but you need to start slowly. Because I just seen too many people start with too much money. Okay, they blast all the money on a certain type of inventory, get too much inventory, buy the wrong products, and basically they end up with less money than they get started with. Now, if you just start with $100, it won't damage you that much. Okay, it sucks, but it's not that bad. But I've found over the years that the people I speak with, the people that tend to contact us through OLeads, through the chat, they, some of them are really in a bad spot. Okay, they went in based on this promise of wealth and unicorns and rainbows and all the stuff I generally don't do. And they end up with far less than they started with. So that's something you need to prevent. Now, the third and last thing I would advise, generally speaking, is to invest in knowledge. I know a course is like the biggest scam or whatever, and everyone tells you that you don't need it and you can find all the info for free. But the point of a course is not to make you rich just as much as going to a doctor isn't a guarantee to make you healthy. Okay. The point of a course is that it offers information in the condensed format. Okay. So instead of wasting a lot of time trying to find certain techniques or methods from different sources, it's actually better to spend $50 or $100 or maybe even $1,000, depending on what course you do, to get all the information. Not so much again to make you rich, but to make sure you don't make the big mistakes. Right? I'm not going to tell you that if you sign up for our arbitrage course you won't make any mistakes, but it's pretty much a guarantee that if you sign up for our stuff, that you won't make the big mistakes like the mistakes I made. Okay, so again, that's in general what I would advise you to do if you are just looking to get started. Okay, now a lot of things prevent people from starting. Okay, and one of those things is this fear of failure. Now, first off, straight off the bat, you need to accept that failure is a possibility. Okay, you need to accept that whatever money you have spent on inventory, on branding, on marketing, or whatever, that it has a possibility to fail. You need to. I understand that in the beginning it's hard to swallow, right? Because society at large is basically made for office drones. Okay, when you go to school, you don't get a reward for getting the wrong answer, even if it's properly motivated. Okay, if you have a math problem and you answer that wrongly, you get an F. If you answer the questions correctly, you get an A. Right? If you're at a job and you get a reward for doing well, not taking any risks, dotting all the I's. Okay. If you're working at a job and you take risk and make mistakes, and you have variable results, then your employer might not see you as a great employee. Okay, just because you're trying different stuff, risky stuff. Being an entrepreneur, and whether that's selling on Amazon or whatever, a Facebook marketing agency, whatever you want to do, you need to completely shift that mindset. You need to accept more than that. You need to actually try and find a certain level of discomfort. If you're an entrepreneur and let's say over a period of a year you never feel uncomfortable, you never struggle, then you're not growing. you're not doing well. You do well in the short term, but you won't be doing well in 2 or 3 years from now. So more on failure. Okay, so this is just my opinion, but why I think many people fail. Okay, first off, people tend to start selling on Amazon because they want more money. They want to make an extra source of income, whatever it is. However, when they fail, let's say in 80 to 90% of the cases I've encountered, they mostly blame lack of money as the main cause. Okay, but I can assure you that lack of money, or money in general, is not the reason why you fail at selling on Amazon. It's actually the amount of time you need to spend but you cannot spend. The lack of knowledge is very often, more often than you think. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right? So again, these are the two main things why people don't make it. Time being one of the most important ones. However, there is something deeper, below that, and that is, I believe that people who start selling on Amazon, they don't have the right mindset. Now, what I mean by that is they basically enter a business-like environment, but they still act as consumers. For instance, if you're a customer at Amazon, you could basically send back a brick in a box, okay, and keep your PlayStation, and nobody will ever complain. Now, when you're going to the other side of the fence, right, and you start as a seller, these tables, the relationship between you and Amazon changes, and it changes dramatically. Okay, you're going to be punished for minor infractions. You need to be on the ball, almost all the time. If you make one big mistake, you can get suspended. It might take you weeks or months to get out of it. And I found that, again, I'm speaking in general terms, but I found that when many sellers, when they get like a 1-star review or some negative feedback, they start to act as consumers. Okay, they go to Amazon seller support, they type in, I need my money back, remove this review, this customer sucks because I did send this and this and that. The point is, the moment you do that, you could call it entitled, but I see it more as people acting as consumers. Right? You need to change that mindset. Right? So instead of asking Amazon for your money back and removing the negative review, instead ask, how can I help this customer? Okay? How can I help this customer get the right product? How can I make sure their experience is a positive one, even though I made a mistake? How can I help you guys resolve this? Right? So you have option 1, act like an entitled little bleep, right? Or you can act as a businessman or woman. Now, the first option always ends in suspension. I can assure you that. I've seen too many people coached or tried to coach too many people who didn't want to listen. And they always end up in suspension, and if you rack up too many negative points on this side of the aisle, you're done for. However, if you do what I say you need to do, so ask how you can help, ask how you can improve the customer experience, that 1-star review, they will remove it without you even asking. Negative feedback, equally so. Okay, so the right mindset in this occasion is everything. It beats money, motivation, and it actually enables you to leverage time in a positive way. Okay, I've seen too many people trying to get someone to say they are right in whatever situation. right? I've had conflicts with customers before where I know I sent the proper product and they sent back a damaged one and told me that it arrived damaged, even though, you know, I take pictures of, basically I make sure that the package arrives at the customer's domicile intact, up to quality. But I don't enter this discussion with a customer. It doesn't make sense. It's a lot of investing in time that will not ever give you anything back. So what you know, let's say you do that for 3 weeks, right? You argue with customers. Amazon thinks you're a bit, you know, petty. The customer will never buy from you again. So in my personal experience and my opinion is to just let it go. Okay, you will always have people trying to, well, basically shit on you. Okay, they try to take advantage of you. That will always be the case. But the point is that you need to focus your time and energy on things that generate revenue. Okay, instead of things that just generate more negativity and you get dragged into this email war. Sometimes even legal battles over what? A pair of shoes that cost you $50. You know, you need to think in long terms and long-term perspective. And again, that's the difference between being a consumer, an employee, or a businessman or woman. Okay, and I realize that this shift is difficult, but you need to do this, because if you don't, again, you need to do this if you want to sell on Amazon or if you want to start any business. If you just want to keep a day job, nothing wrong, you can still stay in this bracket. But if you want to grow and you want to have secondary income or a side hustle, you really need to start working on that mindset. You need to let go of certain things. Honestly, I've been insulted over so many things and I've been lied to on so many things. I have heard no so many times. And again, in the beginning it's hard, but now it slides off me. I don't really care if somebody says no. I just know that, for instance, with OLEADS I provide a proper service, which if you engage in it, I can make sure that you actually have a fighting chance. Okay, and that's what I do. That's what I like to do. So if somebody says something negative I can actually act upon, I will help. But if somebody is just in it to, you know, to just blast or vent or whatever you want to call it, I just let it go. Just let it go. And again, I tend to argue myself, but I've learned over the years that it's not worth it. It really isn't. Right? I've had people basically saying they were gated for most of my leads, but in the same line of arguing or argument, whatever you want to call it, they said they were $1 million seller. Now, again, I get that you might be gated for too many things when you get started, but I can't really marry that idea with you being $1 million seller. Now, my initial instinct is always to argue, say, well, how can you be $1 million seller and not be able to sell Disney, right? If you're doing arbitrage, it's just not possible. Okay, it's unlikely at the very least. So again, that's just my point of view, and I really hope that this helps you get into the right mindset. I realize that many of the things I say may sound negative, but that's not the aim of these kind of talks. Okay, my aim is to actually make sure you have a fighting chance. Really, you're not being helped if I tell you that the only thing you have to do is sign up for a course for blah blah blah, and you will get this or that. You get a Lambo, you get a nice house by the lake. You know, it gives you all these nice positive images, but once you sign up and realize it's not that, you've not been helped. Okay, so I rather tell you the truth now and tell you what it takes now, so that I'm sure that once you sign up, you know what to expect and you're not disappointed, in the sense that you have realistic expectations as to what to expect. Okay, when you look on YouTube, you see too many people, in my opinion, that say, okay, they say, oh, I started with $500 and 3 months later I had 5,000. it's a lie, okay? It's not possible. And if it was possible, do you think that people on Wall Street would still be dealing on Wall Street if they make like 100? Yes, no, like, yeah, 100% increase. It's just ridiculous, okay? It might be that you, in 3 months, you go from having $500 and going to say 2,000, 3,000 revenue. Okay, but that's not the same as making 3,000 bucks. That's revenue. That's not profit. That's possible. But again, I think many people abuse the fact that people looking to get a better slice of life, if you want, if you say so, and also make use of the lack of knowledge. And I personally, I don't like doing that. I just tell you what it is, how it is, and what you need to do. We can help. Again, if you get our coaching, I'm not someone who's going to tell you you're this unique snowflake. Okay, if you have an idea and you want to monetize it, I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm going to tell you what's going to work, what's not going to work. If the idea you have is stupid, I'm going to tell you that as well. And that's, again, not to put you down, but I really want that people who get started with this, they actually have a chance, okay? It's difficult enough in reality, so don't have all these wild ideas of what it takes to make it on Amazon. Okay, so again, hope this helped. Next thing I want to go over is the questions. So I got a lot of questions every week. And I don't want to make this a 2-hour webinar, so today I've picked 3. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat here, and I will try my best to answer them. So again, I'm going to do questions now. First question is from Alexander. I'm from the UK. Can I sell in the US? So, except for maybe a few countries in the world, you can actually sell from anywhere in the world to any marketplace in the world. Again, there are exceptions, and some are more difficult than others. And the most you have to do if you're from the UK, you need to jump through some hoops. What I would definitely advise is to actually start a business. Okay, start limited liability. It doesn't really matter. Just start a business and keep cash flow separate from your personal and your business account. The second tip I would give you is to actually hire an accountant. Okay, don't go into these TurboTax type apps. Okay? It might be good enough for the USA if you live in the USA, but if you live in the UK, just have an accountant do it for you. I do it, and I don't know if you know about this, but there's this thing called Nexus. There's a little game the US government plays with regards to what your taxable state is. Okay, so in which state you reside and where you need to pay taxes. And if I had to do this on my own, it wouldn't work for me. Okay, I would get taxed in 2 countries and I would just pay up and never made any money. So having a good accountant, make sure you're covered on a fiscal level. It's priceless. Okay. Again, you use a prep center, all that kind of stuff. So you had to jump through a few hoops, but it's definitely possible. So I hope this answered the question. Second question is from Lisa. Is it too late to start on Amazon? Now the short answer is that it isn't. But the longer answer is that it's getting more difficult as time progresses. Okay, when I got started, there were less rules, less sellers, less hijackers than there are now. It was never a good idea, but you could actually just go to Alibaba.com, just almost, I'm exaggerating here, okay? But you could almost just, pick blindly and just pick a product, slap a logo on it and sell. That's when I got started. Nowadays, not so much. You need to differentiate, you need to do a lot more things. As a matter of fact, a lot of people talk about saturation, okay? With saturation is that it basically means that there are more sellers or too much sellers for the amount of potential buyers, okay? So the amount of sellers outgrow the buyer market. That's not really the problem, because I found that most sellers are idiots, so they don't know what they're doing. And often with arbitrage, I just wait them out until they sold their items at a loss. The biggest problem for anyone getting started at this point is, again, not so much the saturation, but the maturation. And what I mean by that is that maturation of a market means that it gets more sophisticated. Okay, so the tools improve, and I don't mean tools in the sense like Helium 10. Okay, I love the tool, nothing wrong with it, but it's accessible to everyone. I found that like high profile sellers, because they have more resources, right, makes sense, they do their research more professionally, it's grounded in much more experience, which makes anyone trying to get a start in whatever niche these high profile sellers sell in much more difficult. Okay, so that's a bigger problem. Now again, if you're just getting started, I don't want to plug too much, but we do have a starter package. Okay, I've put it in the description down below. It's a link. And again, you can still try and do it the traditional way, the organic way, and that means by simply putting in the time and grow very small incrementally. And it's possible, but you need to realize that it's going to take a longer time than if you would just sign up for, let's say, our service and buy some ungating, and so you can scale and grow faster. Okay, so definitely, it's not that easy anymore, and even arbitrage, and I get it. A lot of people think that arbitrage is a simple method, but and it was simple in the beginning. Okay, when I got started, before I got started even, there were not many sellers. It was not well known. You didn't have a lot of these hijackers, these people that try to block you from the listing or do this race to the bottom thing. But nowadays, again, because of the maturation of the market, the sophistication of the tools, I would just advise you to start with our starter package. Again, it's possible to do it organically, do it the traditional way, nothing wrong with it, but you need to realize that it's going to take a longer time than it would take before. And it's going to get more difficult as time goes on. Okay, so a year from now, you might even get, it might even be more difficult to start than it is now in 3 or 4. I would say that in 3 to 5 years from now, even doing arbitrage, for instance, I don't think it's going to be feasible anymore if you are on a low budget. It's still kind of possible now, although you have to have almost inhumane levels of discipline, but it's possible still. Okay, 3 to 5 years from now, I don't think you're going to be able to make money basically on Amazon getting started. So if you want to get started, I would do it now. Don't wait too long. And if you're smart, you invest in our program and help you get started quicker. But if you want to do it organically, it's fine by me as well. So yes, it's possible, but it's not as easy anymore as it used to be. That's the short end of it. Okay, so do we we still have any more questions? Okay, wait, I see. Oh, question from Amber. Okay, I think this is the final question, so I'm gonna take a sip. So the question from Amber is, I see you have a course on arbitrage. Do you also have a course on private label, or are you working on one? Okay, that's a very good question. And the short answer is no. Now the long answer is that, unlike arbitrage, private label, in my opinion, right? There may be a different opinion out there and they disagree with me, that's fine. But in my opinion, private label doesn't lend itself to a course format, okay? Because with arbitrage, the process, like the process you need to do, more or less stays the same. It doesn't really matter what product you sell, right? So if you sell vitamins or a book or phone flipping, whatever you do, the process itself does not change. Now a lot of people out there try to get all this gimmicky stuff out there, right? That there's a specialized course for selling books or a specialized course for selling vitamins, phones. I can assure you that the process, no matter how high or how low a product is priced, the process stays the same with arbitrage. Now with private label, your strategy and your approach, they change depending on which market niche you choose, which products in that market niche you choose, and you yourself, okay? Now I could do like a generic course, but that it just wouldn't help you any, it just wouldn't help you. It would help me. I would make a lot more money for a lot less effort, because I just had to do the work once. But again, I just don't think it would help you, right? The problem with private label, even though it is even though it is a sort of a problem, but it's not the main problem, okay? So the problem is not so much knowledge, and also for the most part it isn't really money, okay? Even though that might be something on your mind at this moment, but these two things, when it comes to private label, there are issues, definitely. If you don't have money, you can't launch. If you don't have the proper knowledge, it won't work. But they're not the main issue. Even if let's just say you have the money and you have the knowledge, okay? So you know how to launch a product, you know how to brand it, you have a network of marketeers or whatever, you have enough money to launch and to actually buy your second inventory. So let's just say that's not a problem. But I found that over time that many people just have a normal day job, okay? So they try to do that next to a day job. So I found that for all the problems you might face, right? So time, money, money and knowledge. I found that the third one, time, is the most limiting factor, and it's also, I believe, the reason why most people fail. Okay, I'm really not exaggerating when I say that in order to build a brand, launch it, have a good enough market penetration, you need to invest close or more than the amount of time you spend on a work week. So you have to spend about 40 hours a week in the beginning, especially, to build something from the ground up. Okay, so you have nothing and you're building it up. Now you have to invest that time next to a normal work week. Now again, I can be this super hyper positive guru and motivate you to do all that stuff. But again, I try to be realistic, and I don't think, you might last a week, you might last a month, but I personally believe that it's not sustainable over months or years, or a year. Not even years, just say 3 months to a year. A lot of people underestimate before they get started or when they get started that this drain of time, right? Even if you have the time and the knowledge, or sorry, the money and the knowledge, even if you have those two, okay? So if money is not a problem and you understand what you're doing, it's not a problem. Time will be your limiting factor, and people underestimate how much of a toll it takes, not just on you as a person, but on your social life, the fact that you can't relax anymore, right? So imagine this. Imagine how tired you are when you get home every day after your normal work week. Okay, now in the beginning you're motivated, right? So you might have this motivation that might push you on to get up and work after dinner and work right up until you go back to bed. But you have to be realistic, and you have to ask yourself, can you do it every day? Not for a week, but for weeks and months and maybe even years, to basically launch your product into the market. I know that everyone is trying to trying to let you focus on these big success stories, but these success stories are like this tiny fraction of people that sell on Amazon, okay? So again, that's why I don't do a private label course, because I don't think, unlike arbitrage, I don't think that it's doable for someone who basically has a day job, okay? So again, that's why I set up the Brand Builder program, and to a lesser extent the passive income coaching. And again, I set the Brand Builder program up, even though it's a lot of money, I realize that, but I can assure you that I could set up something that would cost me less time, less energy, that would make me more money than this would. So you have to realize that with this program we basically do all the legwork, okay? So we build your business, you go to work, watch Netflix, we touch base like once a week to discuss progress, and then we just move on and do the work. And what you have to realize that we stay with you until it gets launched, okay? We stay with you until you actually sell something, and then gradually transfer the business to you, okay? Again, this is like the type of knowledge that you only have if you tried and failed once. So I don't expect many people to fully realize what I'm saying here, and the implications of what it takes to do everything by yourself. But I can assure you that if you actually try to build a full-time, like a full-scale business or brand next to your day job, again, I don't want to put you down, but it's not very likely that you'll get there without any help, okay? And in my opinion, a course is just not good enough for that. So that's why I set up a passive income coaching team and a brand builder team. Okay, so again, I hope this helped, and I also hope that it kind of makes clear as to what I'm saying. If you still have follow-up questions, just let me know. I would be more than happy to answer them. So yeah, this is the webinar for this week, the Sunday talk. So don't think there are any questions anymore. I'm going to check. No questions. So again, thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe and all that funky stuff, and I'll see you next week. And if you have any questions, just feel free to email me, martin@alwaleeds.com. And if you want to get started, we have a free option to start with, so it's in the description, where you can basically get 5 leads for free every week. We post them on Friday, and we have a starter package. It's not free, but again, nowadays it's not, I don't think it's feasible, like generically speaking, for anyone to get started with selling on Amazon without this package. I'm just going to be upfront about it, okay? Again, it's $400 and you get knowledge, leads, so knowledge in the form of arbitrage training, leads, cheap ungating, and you get email support directly from me, okay? I think there was someone, oh yeah, 20% discount on prep services. Now it may not sound much, but these 5 things actually will help you grow faster, okay? So again, thank you for joining and hope to speak to you soon, alright? See you next week. Bye bye.